Cool. Hi, everybody. I hope everyone's doing good. We're going to get started because I want to be mindful of everyone's time. So welcome to session 2 of these informational sessions that we're having. Today, we titled it Eliminating the Barriers because our goal with this is to have professionals in the community, in the school districts, and even on campus know of all these different departments that are able to help students in different capacities, whether that's being a part of, as we all know, Campus Life, Running Start, all these different departments. That way, no student kind of goes to WVC without having some type of support system. And so we're going to be recording, so that way we can post this later on the website or share with others that weren't present. So we're going to get started. The first presentation we're going to have is from Laura, who represents CAMP. So I'll hand it over to her.
Hi, everybody. My name is Laura. I'm the new recruiter for CAMP. I am going to go ahead and share my screen with y'all. Is there, whoops. Is everybody able to see it okay? Okay, good. All right, so welcome. I'm going to talk a little bit about the College Assistance Migrant Program, or otherwise known as CAMP. To start off, what is it? It's a program here on campus, federally funded. It's a academic support system designed to help first-year students of migrant and farm working backgrounds to succeed in their first year of college. So we do offer a variety of services for CAMP, but a couple that I really wanted to highlight on is that we offer academic assistance for students. I know the first year can be tough, so we really want to help students register for classes, get them where they need to be, and be a resource to them to help them just get started. So we also offer advising that's really through our program for them to help each student meet their needs as they figure out their first year. Another thing that we offer through our program is what we call a lending library program. And for the first year of college, here at WVC, CAMP students aren't, excuse me. So for the first year of college, we provide their books for them. Students don't have to worry about buying their first year of books because it can get expensive, and that kind of leads into the next thing that I wanted to talk about. We do also offer financial support to students. We have a scholarship opportunity. We offer a $1,200 scholarship for students, and as long as students are maintaining their grade and keeping up with their 2.5 GPA, that is available to them. Not only that, we do help with applying for FAFSA and just overall scholarships in general. So to be in the CAMP program, there are a couple of eligibility requirements. Because we are a federally funded program, we do require the student to be a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident. We require the student to have either a high school diploma or a GED certificate. And we also require them to have a 2.5 GPA to apply. They must be in their first year of college. So for Running Start students, sometimes this can affect them, just depending on how long they've been in Running Start. For example, if a student did 2 years and already earned their AA degree, then they wouldn't be eligible for the CAMP as they're not in their first year. Versus if they've only done a quarter of Running Start and decided to just do regular high school, then they could potentially still be eligible for the program. To apply for CAMP, they do also have to have a completed FAFSA application with a confirmation letter. We need to receive that to be able to confirm that they've done it and that they are eligible for it. They also need to be they also need to have a migrant or farm working background, which means that either the student or the parents of the student have worked in agriculture for at least 75 days within the last 2 years. This can also mean that they've participated in the migrant education program at any point from kindergarten up until graduation, or that they participated in a high school equivalency program. So there's a few different ways that students can become eligible for this program. And then, to apply to camp, there is a process that we go through. We have to collect a few forms from them. The first thing is the camp application, of course. The other is a certificate of eligibility this tells us if they were in the migrant education program at any time during K through 12. The other way that they can verify that they are eligible for this program is what we call an employment verification form, which this would be given to the employer of either the student or the parents of the student that tells us, yes, they've worked in agriculture in the last 2 years for at least 75 days. We also take transcripts, the FAFSA confirmation, and what we call evaluation forms. These are forms that tell us they're evaluations on the student. Typically, they're done by another teacher, somebody who knows them and can evaluate them, and it gives us a little bit of insight on the student so that we can know a little bit about their background before we actually meet them. And then lastly, to actually meet the student, we hold an interview with the camp staff and the student present. This is an interview that we do to get to know the student, really. It's not a interview to, are you going to be in camp? Are you not going to be in camp? It's really just to get to know the student and to see if they meet the requirements that we're looking for. So that's what our application process looks like. For students, how they can apply, typically we use a QR code and do a screening process to see if they're eligible. We take in-person applications and online applications as well. And students, they go through the application process. As long as we get all of those forms completed, we hold the interviews at the very end, which have been happening on Zoom, but it's just Zoom has just been easier and more accessible for everybody during this time. I also like to include my contact information if any students who may be interested in applying to camp. I'm here. We're located in Wells Hall. If any of y'all have any other questions too, I'm always here to answer them. And then, yeah, so that's a little bit about camp. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. And the next person is going to be Maria Adams. She'll be presenting on campus life, so some of their clubs, as well as athletics information.
Hi, Maria Adams. I'm going to be doing all this with campus life as well as athletics, and I'm going to share my screen with you. All right. All right, so campus life. Was starting out, we have a student rec center, so that's where students actually pay a little bit in their tuition to have access to all this. We have 2 courts up there, 2 big basketball courts that we're able to use. We have a dance/yoga studio that students can go in and use at any time as long as the classes are not in session. There's also an upstairs weight room. You just sign in and you go right up there. Also, there's intramural sports. So I think right now we have laser tag coming up here in the next few weeks. We've had flag football, volleyball tournaments, basketball tournaments, and just a lot of those go on, and anybody can come and kind of sign up as long as you're a student. I think faculty as well and staff on campus get to do that also if they choose to make a team. Another thing that they have is partnerships. So this year we actually partnered with Mission Ridge. So students can go up there. I think it's only 3 times a year. They have to sign up beforehand. They get their rentals free, and then they also get free lift tickets. So they're able to go up, spend a day, and don't have to pay for anything, which is really cool, especially with Mission Ridge being as big as it is getting. Next thing we have is campus events. So that looks like student government. Senate right now is running. They meet every week and they talk about budgets. They talk about different student events that need to go on, such as a dance is coming up here in May. They also talk about anything that they can do for students here on campus, volunteer work, anything like that, as well as student clubs here on campus. Just a few of them that we have as of right now. Usually they're kind of going as much as possible. Students are able to sign up for different types of clubs, or they can create their own depending on if they have the advisor for it. And if someone is willing to, they're willing to open up that club for them. So a couple of them are the Auto Tech, Bailadores, the Culture Club, Cyber Nights, Mechatronics, where they use a 3D printer. That's in the club room itself. So we do have a club room where these clubs can meet. They can work together. They can work on, right now with the 3D printer in the club room, the Mechatronics have been using that for a lot of different little projects that they have been able to distribute between some employees, which is really, really cool, such as like little pencil holders or paperweights or just different things like that. We also have medical assistant student nights. That's called MASK, that focuses a lot on the medical assistants and our program with Confluence with that. Matcha with QSA, refrigeration. We also have our honor society as well that people can join. And there's a lot more. You can always look up those on our website as well. On campus living, we have dorms here right across the street. You're able to get into it. You're able to kind of experience that college life. They have little podments. So you have a big room with a kitchen, a TV, a couch, and that's kind of where everyone congregates. And then you go into your separate little pods. Those have a door which only you can get into, you and your pod mates can get into. There you have 2 bathrooms, 2 sinks, a couple little lockers where you can store some of your shower stuff or bathroom stuff. And then you get into your actual pods where there are going to be you and a roommate. So nobody is able to get into those rooms besides you and your roommate. All of your pod mates are able to get into your pod, and then you will be able to get into the living space where you're able to go and you're able to hang out with different pods from there. I think there's about 4 pods per floor, and there's 3 floors. So a lot of living space, and it's really good pricing, a little bit better pricing than trying to go out and get an apartment. And then WVC athletics. I'll move on to that. So we have 7 different sports. We have women's and men's soccer. We have women and men's basketball. We have women's volleyball, fast pitch, softball, and baseball. So those are all the teams that we have. We are always looking for recruits. On our gowvc.com, we actually have recruiting forms where if you are interested or have any film that you would like to send some of the coaches, you can pick your sport, type up what who you are, your club coach, your high school coach, anything like that. You're able to submit that to the specific coach themselves. It pops up on their email. They usually would really enjoy having a link to a video. And I really like to say that because I am a coach. I'm the volleyball coach. So I really like to have a video that I'm able to see for these kids and for you guys to just be like, okay, now we can go out and have that process of the recruitment side. But all of athletics is we work together as one big unit, and we go out in community. We have community service nights. There's different camps that we put on. Some are free, some are paid for. But if you just go on WVC.com, all of that is going to be on there for athletic calendars, for when our next games are. Also, all of our social medias are linked on there. And we do very, very weekly updates. For games, we do halftime reports, we do post-game reports, and we do post-game interviews. So there's a lot going on with the athletics and on Life campus. And that's it.
Thank you, Maria. Next up, we have Dulce Morgado with Running Start.
Hi, thank you. Okay, I believe I shared my screen. There you go. Okay, so welcome everyone. Thank you for having me here and just being part of the session. I'll be happy to give you a quick overview of Running Start. So I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Dulce Morgado, and I am an educational planner here for Wenatchee Valley College for the Running Start students. I advise students from M through Z, and then we do have an additional educational planner here. Her name is Araceli Mendoza, and we, work hard on just making sure that our students are meeting the high school requirements, and they're also getting, the goal that they have here, whether that may be the degree or requirements for a program. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and continue. So what is Running Start? So Running Start, I'm sure that you all have a general idea of what Running Start is, but in technical terms, Running Start is a dual credit program. Students are able to earn high school and college credit at the same time. And it functions similar to college in the high school, or CTE, which is career and technical education. And with the Running Start program, the students don't pay the tuition. The tuition is paid by the public school district. And the amount of credits that get covered will depend on whether the student is attending class at the high school or if they're not. So it just really varies. So high school, so every high school has their own specific equivalency guide sheet that we follow. And we follow that, we create a 2-year plan for the student. If the goal for the student is to only, complete high school requirements and get those to transfer, or then we can, create the 2-year plan for them. But that is the main way that we are making sure that, Wenatchee's junior English is being covered. And so for that, the class would be that English 101. So there's some common misconceptions that I wanted to touch on. And one of them is it's the idea that if you are wanting to participate in Running Start, you must enroll at the end of your sophomore year to start in the fall quarter. But in reality, students can join Running Start at any quarter, their junior or senior year, to begin earning college credits. Another misconception is that if you enroll in Running Start, you can no longer take part of high school, take any high school classes. And a student can choose they can choose to decide to do a class at the high school and the rest at WVC. So again, it would all depend on their goal. It is going to be how they best feel that Running Start can benefit them. So the result, if a student who starts in the fall of their junior year and successfully completes 15 credits every quarter, they can earn their high school diploma and an associate's degree. A student can also use what's college in the high school credits, or CTE credits, towards a degree. And during our advisings, we work on guiding them to and show them how to bring those credits so that they can be used towards their WVC requirements. Students as well, if they, they don't complete all of their associate's degree requirements, they can continue here at WVC as regular students. And we see that we typically see students finish up their degree either in the summer by taking a class or in the fall. And that works fine as well. And I've also seen students who decide to just transfer the credits they have earned to a university of their choice. I have also seen students who are here just for their math sequence or their physics or anything like that they're interested in, to be able to transfer that to a university. And so, this is huge when it comes to, what does it mean for a parent or a student? And it really means that there's, money saved and there's less debt for them. And also one big thing is that students are well prepared and mature to enter a four-year institution. A couple of things to consider before enrolling in Running Start. I would say, to know the difference between high school and college. College is very fast-paced and it requires students to put in a good amount of study time and making sure that their assignments are turned in on time. And another thing is time management. Time management and communications skills are very important to being successful at WVC. The students will need to communicate with Running Start advisors, with their high school counselors, and with their professors. So they really need to start getting out there, getting the understanding of communication and being confident with that. Let's see, and then tuition is covered by Running Start, but students are responsible for costs such as fees associated with each class. They're responsible for books and they're responsible for parking passes. Running Start does not provide transportation, so they will need to take care of that as well. And we do have what's called a lending library as well that we can use to support students with books. And also, if the student qualifies for free and reduced lunch at the high school, the student they can automatically qualify for the ASSIST program. And the ASSIST program, what it will do is it will reduce your class fees or your quarterly fees. And also they will be able to get a $100 book voucher to use at the bookstore. Another thing to consider is the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. Running Start cannot share students' educational records or information unless they have signed a release of information. This means that if they don't have that signed, the parent really needs to have good communication with their student, that they're asking questions and they're assisting and they're helping the student do well here at WVC. How we support our students. We have frequent communication, and that our main way to communicate with our students is via Remind. So we send out text messages. We support them by creating a 2-year plan, meeting with them when there's any changes, or if they have a new plan, we can meet with them as well and adjust that according to what they want. And then we also have mandatory advising sessions. So before they're able to enroll in the following quarter, we do put a block on students' account to make sure that they have met with us and they have the information that they need to move forward to the quarter that is coming. And especially for our seniors, this is when we do one-on-one meetings with them. It takes us about 15 minutes to really just verify all high school requirements are completed, all WVC or your goals are being met for spring quarter. So that's really important for us. And then again, we have the ASSIST program to support students who qualify for free and reduced lunch. And we also have peer mentoring, and this is where our second year students mentor and help our first year students. How to qualify? So to qualify, you need to submit one proof, so one qualifying document, And this is the list that we have to be able to qualify for Running Start. The most common qualifying document that we get is a high school cumulative GPA of a 3.0 or higher. And what happens is the student will email us that qualifying document, and then we send them a welcome email if they qualify, and it has a detailed steps on what to do next. But really what it is they have to sign up for advising, and that will happen in May. And that's the new student advising that we do. And then that's when we talk about, what to expect and all of that. And also throughout that time, we start doing the two-year plans, so that in June, when they get to register, they have an idea of what they need to take. And then we do what's called College 101, and that is in person. We come together, we give them a tour of the campus. We help them find the classes if they're in person as well. We show them how to find their books, how to get into their student email, how to get into Canvas, and all of that you will need to get started. And then classes begin in September. I did want to add in here, there's two changes though. The high school cumulative GPA will change. Starting fall of 2023, the GPA will be 2.5. Another thing that I need to add here is that in March, we will do, it's called Running Start Advising Sessions, informational sessions in March. And that's going to be open to the community and to parents and students, of course, so they can come to campus and hear about Running Start. And so we'll start our sessions in March. We don't have the dates yet, but we'll be sending that out as soon as we find out. Let's see. And that is all that I have for you. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us through email, phone call, or stop by.
Thank you, Dulce. And our next presenters are going to be Rosana Linares and Kevin Charco. They're going to be talking about MESA.
Hi, let me share my screen here. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Can you see it?
Mhm.
For some reason it's frozen. Okay. So thank you for having us. MESA is a program. MESA stands for Math, Engineering, Science Achievement Program. In general, we are a program that offers academic and non-academic support, and those students that are in STEM, which means those students that are related to science, technology, engineering, and math, and who intend to transfer from Wenatchee Valley College to a four-year institution. The impact, well, we want to diversify the STEAM workforce to prepare the new generation of STEAM leaders. And at this time, we are trying to create a really good network about all the STEM between industry, community, and college to offer more opportunity for students. We belong to a Washington MESA. We are part of those branches. Washington MESA is right now in 13 colleges around the state, and we are one of those. In general, we have a vision and mission, and this is a standardized vision and mission like from the state, and it's supposed all the colleges are aligned to this. So we empower, and about the mission, we empower the underrepresented students by providing them a community that supports the pathways to higher education in STEM through mentorships, academic program, and interactive workshops. And with the vision, we have the diverse student population in Washington State, have the educational support and tools to create innovative solutions as they become the next leaders in STEM. The program has a capacity of 100 students, that is in a school year. And how do you know if MESA is a good fit? Well, some of this is kind of the general criteria that we have. And you don't need to be part of all of them. You can meet one or two or even the three of them, and that is going to be fine. And STEM career interests, intend to transfer to a 4-year institution and be part of underserved, underrepresented groups. I always say to students, even when you see this, please knock the door, it's fine. We can have a conversation. We can hold them to know if a STEM is something that they are really interested in. And it doesn't matter the ethnicity, we can just help them if they need support in terms of academic and even non-academic needs. Who is MESA? Well, we have our faculty sponsor, which is Brandon Church. He's a math faculty. We have Kevin Charcon. He's an AmeriCare Corps member. He's part of this meeting today. And he is responsible for to coordinate our student center. And I'm the director. As you see, Brandon and I and Kevin is and that path, we are related to STEM and science. And so something we know that we say to the student is when they're having a really hard time, we went through that, so we know that means. And for the reason we are more than happy to hold them to navigate all the situations they might go through. Through the college, we have support in advising, and this is Sharon West and Awanthi. They are faculties math and science, and they help us in terms of the academics, especially in those cases that when we need to connect with the transfer piece to the 4-year institution, they know really well the system and the requirements, requisites, and ways even to work with the universities to offer the best options to our students. Then what MESA can offer you as a student? Well, we have the academic advising. I will say that this is one of the biggest pieces of our help. That means that so when students decide what they want to do and where they want to go, we try to help them to make sure that the academic plan they have is good enough to transfer, or to the classes that they are taking, the majority of them can transfer into the university that they want to go, or even sometimes they have like a different option. So we help them to evaluate those different options and make the and pick the best one for them in terms of financial aid or location, different needs that they might, or consideration that they need to take in order to be successful. We support to connect with non-academic colleges resources. We help them to navigate it, and we're trying to leverage those resources that the college has. And then we help with the transfer. We help them with the transfer piece. That means that we provide the transfer assistance, and that an example of that can be that we are going to help them to complete the application for a university, because sometimes they don't know how to do that. If they need a reference letter, we are going to work with them. If any kind of things that they might need help with, we are there. When, as you know, we work with other programs, we work with running study students that are MESA and can be CAMP and TRIO, depending on the interest that they have. And usually we say like when we explain to students that when we are working with those programs, it means that we have a partnership, and we are always having or try to have a really good communication to not create any kind of conflict or misunderstanding. So here we have the MESA Student Center. He is located at the L.R. Fox building. The room is the 3016. We have there a lot of things. We have resources. We have tutoring for biology, chemistry, and physics. We have a schedule for that. And we have our library. This is a science library, which means that we have all kind of biology, chemistry, math, physics books. What happened is, if for some reason a student need a book and we don't have it, they talk to Kevin, we evaluate the situation, and I can buy the book. My program can support with that. We We cannot buy a book for a student specifically, but we can have the book there and this student can take that book through a quarter and then it has to be returned. We have, for all going to science, we have all this calculator, we have laptops, we have the desktop, we have the headphone with noise canceling. If someone needs to take a class or have an emergency, that is something that they can do there. We have all the printers and always we have snacks, drinks, and all the stuff that if they need just to sit there between classes and take a kind of a break, that is a really nice space to be in. What we expect from our students? Well, we expect to work together and communicate with us. Like we said that Mesa is familia. So for the reason we said that we are expecting them to be a good family member. We meet the requirements in our student contract agreement in a timely manner. That is something that they are going to evaluate with Brandwin, who is the faculty sponsor. When they are meeting with her, we are expecting to do the quarterly check-in with me and the regular meeting with the faculty sponsor. In this case, what we said is we are following up with faculties the progress of our students. And in the case of something is not going well, we are going to reach out and trying to create a plan like, hey, you might need more hours for tutoring. And they might say like, but the time of the tutoring you have is not working for me. Okay, we are going to figure out a way that you can get that service. So we're trying to sometimes personalize the system depending on the situation. And when we say the communication is important, it's trying to do that in a timely manner. So it's not too late to take action that we can fix the situation. Also, we expect that they use the center resources and or information provided by the program and leverage opportunity for scholarships, internships, and field trips. When we talk about the scholarships and the internships, usually we are looking at those related to STEM. And what I do is I'm trying to look at those before sending the information, and I know what a student can get that benefit better than others. So when I always say to them, if you see an email from me with your name saying that you need to apply for this, just please do, because that means that that student has really good chances to get that. And of course, we are expecting that they participate in tutoring and students group if they are available or they can, and help other Mesa students when they can. Why? Because we are a family. So that is kind of our biggest expectation, have a really safe and good space, because we know how hard are STEM classes. So I think if we can create that community to support each other, it's going to be easier. How do students enroll in Mesa? Well, we have different options. They can visit our website. We have brochures through the whole campus, and we have a QRC code. They can apply to that. They can see Kevin at the student center, or they can email to our Mesa email address, or even directly to me, and that is going to be fine. What we need to know: name, last name, student ID, email address, phone number, and career of interest. And if they have any questions, well, this is our contact information, and just feel free to reach out and we are going to help them. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosanna. And then up next, we have Jayma Coleman, who will be talking about study abroad.
Thank you. Let's see. Are you seeing the presenter's view or I need to switch it? There, is that right? Yep. Thank you. So my name is Jayma Coleman, and I'm the Director of Educational Planning, but I wear a few different hats here at Wenatchee Valley College, and one of those is that I'm the Study Abroad Coordinator. And so I'm going to share a little bit of information about WVC's Study Abroad program. In 2015, I think, Wenatchee Valley College joined the Washington State Community College Consortium for Study Abroad. It's been around for about 30 years, and there are currently about 18 of the community colleges in the state are part of the consortium. So many of us are smaller community colleges that would be hard for us to run our own study abroad program as a standalone program. It would be hard to make it affordable for students with just the numbers that we have. So the community colleges that are part of the consortium coordinate the programs each quarter, and students participate. Students from many of the member colleges can participate, and the faculty at those schools can apply to teach for the program. And this structure helps keep the costs a little bit lower for students. Typically, one of the study abroad programs through community college is probably about 20% less than a student would experience in a similar program at a four-year university. So it can be really beneficial for them in that way. So wixa.com is the website that has a lot of there is some information on the WVC website, but it mostly links to the details on WIXA's website about the different programs that are offered. Wenatchee Valley College has had over 25 students study abroad since 2015. Many of those have been camp students, and we've had quite a few Running Start students as well participate in study abroad. These are a few of our upcoming locations. We do have a program in Rome, Italy, that is happening this spring, but the deadline has passed for that. There's still time for students to apply for the summer program in Costa Rica, and we're keeping an eye on things in Peru for fall of 2023. Some of these programs kind of rotate through regularly. The Japan program and Australia, New Zealand are pretty standard every fall and winter quarter, but some of the other ones sort of rotate through. Occasionally there's a new program added to this list, just depends on costs and availability and student interests. This past fall, we did have 2 Wenatchee Valley College students studying in Japan. So that was really nice to have students traveling again after a very long break during COVID. Just a little bit about the programs. Students do not need to speak a foreign language in order to do these programs. That's a common misconception. Many of the programs will include language classes, a language class, depending on the location. Other times it might be more of a cultural or history type class, depending on the location. The program lengths vary. The summer programs are usually 2 to 4 weeks long, a little bit shorter for those, whereas the regular academic year, they're a full quarter-long program, so 10+ weeks. Students could stay in country a little bit longer than that, depending on the allowances for the different countries. The housing situations are a little bit different. Some of the programs include a homestay. The students will be housed with a local family. Other times, depending on the situation, it might be more of a dorm or apartment living scenario for the students. Meals are included, or some of the meals are included if it's a homestay situation, whereas if it's more of an on your own apartment dorm situation, the students are usually taking care of themselves, either cooking for themselves and or eating out combination. In-country transportation passes are usually included with most programs. So for example, when we've had programs in London, the students will get an Oyster card so they can ride the tube. And that's just part of the program, so they can get around to and from their host family and to and from classes, and also activities that are included. There is a pre-departure orientation that's required for the students to attend. This is a great opportunity for them to meet the faculty, meet the other students that are going from the various schools, and meet some of the staff that will be involved. So there's a lot of good information about culture shock and safety and some of those details, packing tips are shared at that orientation. And parents or support, the student support network are welcome to attend as well to be part of that. One thing we do stress with students is that this is a study abroad, not travel abroad program. So although yes, you do have the opportunity to travel, it does require that you study. If you just want to go on vacation, you can do that on your own time. This does include an educational component. So the courses that students take for these programs do usually, in most cases, they're going to count for a student's college, Wenatchee Valley College degree, especially the transfer degrees specifically. Many of the classes are usually fall in the humanities or social science category, sometimes English or elective categories. We don't see as many science classes being offered. However, the Peru program will have geology classes included this year. So that's kind of a unique opportunity. Peru has a lot of interesting geological features to focus on. So if it is a summer program, usually just 2 to 4 weeks, those are going to be one class. So usually an intensive 5-credit class. So the Costa Rica program, students sign up for a 5-credit Spanish class, and the class meets for about 4 hours a day. And then they have other cultural activities scheduled around that as well. So, so they get a 5-credit class in that period of time. The quarter-long program, students are generally enrolled in a full load of 15 credits for that they're taking in country face-to-face. Sometimes there's some online components to some of those classes. One of the nice things about this study abroad program through Wenatchee Valley College is that students enroll in the classes through their home institution. So the classes that they take will just show up on their WVC transcript like any of their other classes. They don't have to worry about the transferability or international credit and whether it will count or not. It's just included in with the rest of their WVC credits. So that makes that process pretty smooth. That also smooths things out for students who have financial aid. These classes there's no special approval needed for financial aid to kind of kick in for these, because it's the same type of class that a student would take. Their classes are pulled from the community college consortium classes that are offered on the community college campuses. There are cultural events included for many of the programs. This could be things like a day trip, maybe museum visits, guest speakers, sometimes cooking classes or a dancing class, something like that, depending on what country the students are in. There are also some optional excursions available. Those usually will be an additional cost if the student wants to participate in those. For example, the London program had a 3-day trip or 3-night trip to Scotland. So it just depends on the location, what those excursions are, but they're optional for students. And the students, of course, are welcome to plan their own like weekend itineraries if they want to travel around on their own. And the staff that we work with in the country can help students with those planning, booking hotels or train tickets, that type of thing. Eligibility for study abroad does require a passport, not at the time of application, but before they leave. Obviously, they're going to need passport. Most of the programs will allow students who are 17 or older to participate. So far, I haven't had any trouble. The Running Start students have all been approved if they're 17 or older at the start of the program. I've had met with a few 16-year-olds, but then they're going to be 17 before the program begins. We do require a 2.5 minimum GPA, and students need to have completed at least 12 college credits prior to applying for the program, just so we know for sure that they understand the college expectations and they're familiar with the pace of a college class, those types of things. There are some financial deadlines, payments that need to be made in order to participate, and there's usually a medical form. This isn't to keep students out of the program, it's just to make arrangements if any medical care is needed. Some countries it can be hard to get specific prescriptions, things like that. So it just requires a doctor to sign off on that, make sure the information, the student and the staff have the information they need in certain cases. So the application process, the first step is a preliminary application that will determine eligibility. It's not a competitive process to participate. It's kind of first come, first serve. So if a student does wait until the very last minute to turn in their application, it's possible that all the seats will have been filled earlier and they might end up on a waiting list. There are limits to how many students we can send per program, depending on the how many faculty we have. Usually it's one faculty per program, and also it's dictated by the classroom space in the country that the program takes place in. The application requires an online form to be filled out. 2 letters of recommendation must be submitted. At least one of those needs to come from a college professor. Many of you, sometimes it's Camp Trio staff have also supplied letters of recommendation for students for this as well. We do want a copy of the students' transcripts, and then there's a 1-page essay that they will submit. That essay will be included for consideration for a scholarship as well, just as part of the application process. That essay will be used for a scholarship opportunity. And then, of course, once they have their passport, we'll need a copy of that. Additional documents that may be required later, and they vary depending on the program, is a medical form, some type of maybe housing form when we're determining roommates, or host family matchups, that type of thing. Code of conduct, liability release, things like that. And then there's a secondary step to the application, which is done a little bit later when they're actually students are paying their initial deposit to lock into a seat in the program, that the actual payment of their deposit is what guarantees them a seat in the program. The next slide I'm going to show is going to have some numbers on it. Just kind of an estimate of costs, and it can be a little overwhelming for students, a little bit of sticker shock, but keep in mind that but the slide after this is going to be about some financial resources for study abroad, and also that if a student were to do study abroad at a university, as I said earlier, it could be almost 20% more than it is at a community college level. In addition, if a student were to, say, live abroad for a quarter, they might have a hard time keeping it within the same budget amount. So they are really getting quite a bit from the fees and things that are paid. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what those include. So the program deposit and the program fees, this is going to cover things like the student's housing. It's going to include some of the activities that are built into the program. It will include some of the insurance coverage, and it helps with some of the staffing needs and classroom availability and different resources that are needed in the country. But the big chunk of that is going to be the housing piece. The tuition and fees, that is paid because the students register for classes through Wenatchee Valley College. Paying for tuition, all of that is exactly the cost of the classes. All of that is exactly the same as if they were taking a class here on the Wenatchee Valley College campus. There's no extra tuition that they have to pay. So then that's charged as normal. And so financial aid, if a student has financial aid, that can just kick in as usual to cover those costs. So that tuition is about the same, tuition and books, kind of the same cost that a student would pay even if they didn't do study abroad. The housing deposit it can be variable. It's depends on the program. It's usually around $250, but it is refundable. So as long as the student does not damage their housing in any way, they will get that amount back. Airfare also can be very volatile. It changes a little bit depending on the program, depending on the location, when the student purchases their tickets. The study abroad coordinators and the WICSA staff will help students identify good flights that will get them there without too many layovers. And also there's a few cost saving opportunities that we can recommend to students around airfare. The food, obviously, kind of out of our hands. The students need to kind of budget that, but it depends on the type of program, whether it's homestays or if it might include more of a living on your own scenario. So that can be a big variable. And then of course, spending money is kind of up to the student, but we do recommend that they budget for some extra things so that they can, buy some souvenirs and maybe do a little bit of traveling on their own while they're there. So that gives you kind of a general idea. Again, this is estimated costs for a quarter-long program. The summer programs that are maybe only 4 weeks long are much less than this, but will include some of the same kind of costs. So funding opportunities for this, students who do qualify for financial aid, those funds, once their tuition is paid, any additional financial aid that they receive for that quarter can be used toward the program fees that they need to pay for a study abroad opportunity. Although I don't advocate that students take out loans, I myself did use a loan to cover part of the cost for my study abroad experience in college, and I don't have any regrets about that. But student loans is an option, and there's some kind of strategies around that. Students do not need, if they don't need to take out the maximum loan for this. But if they do qualify for state or federal funding, that can be, once it covers their tuition first, some of that can be used towards their program fees for study abroad. There are some scholarship opportunities. WICSA offers 2 $1,000 scholarships for every program, for most programs, not every program. The Gilman Scholarship is a federal scholarship that is open to Pell recipients. So if a student is receiving the Pell Grant, then they would be eligible to apply for the Gilman as well. And that can be for up to $5,000. I have had 2 students receive this scholarship. Probably I've only had maybe only 5 apply. I did hear a statistic that about 1 out of 3 students does receive a Gilman, who applies, receives a Gilman scholarship. So that is actually a really good one to apply for. There are some links on the website with some additional resources that students can research, but I really talk to students about scholarships being kind of the cherry on the top. It's not something that they can bank on. A lot of times the scholarships maybe don't come through until the very last minute anyway. So they need to be able to budget and pull the money together from other sources to at least make sure they have the minimum costs covered. And then if they happen to get a scholarship on top of that, that's kind of just extra. Obviously, we encourage them to reach out to family and friends and see what kind of options they can work out there. Obviously, if they have, summer job or a seasonal job that they can put some time into. I know for myself, I did get a small amount of support from my parents, and my grandparents were able to help out just a little bit with some of the costs for my study abroad back in college. We do encourage students to reach out to their support networks. Sometimes if they're part of a church or their local tribe, a social group they're part of, sometimes their employers might be willing to sponsor them in some way, maybe help with fundraising, that type of thing. So we have those kinds of conversations with students. We also have some information about budgeting and saving money while you're abroad. So we'll share those details with students in preparation for study abroad as well. Those are the basics of WICSA and WVC study abroad programs. Happy to, it's one of my favorite things to chat about with students. So please send them my way. If anybody needs more information, I'm happy to help. So thank you.
Thank you, Jema. And unless anybody has any questions, I think that concludes our Eliminating Barriers info session. We are hoping to get this posted on our YouTube channel and then somewhere on our website here in the coming days. So you can always reach out to me or Levy if you have any more questions, and we'll be happy to answer those.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.